Well, as an entrepreneur, the first time that I got in touch, I think it was actually before that I became an entrepreneur. Got in touch with this subject of communication and image. For me, it was so abstract. Communication, image, and organizations. Like what is that about? How an organization really communicate? What's about the image of an organization? So it got really abstract for me. And I got diving and in researching and studying about it. And now every time I think about this, it's so easy. It's like if starting from the individual, from I, it's much easier actually to understand all this process, how this works out. Since the moment that you are getting up to life into this world, the first thing that you are starting to do is to start to communicate with the outer world. And the first thing you don't do it in a proper way. And the way also the world perceives you, it's also not in a proper way. He might think, or she, your mother or your father, think, oh, he's such a great guy, and you might become a killer, all the way around, and I feel somehow it's like this kind of a paradigm is also happening also in the organizations. When we talk about organization, or we talk about products, in a certain way. So, is this kind of a difference in between what is the communication? But for sure, you already heard about communication image strategies, about marketing strategies, about communication plans. It's really nice. And during this whole Evo year's journey, for sure, we already approached some of these subjects till now. So my thing is how we can look to this parallelism in between what is an individual and what is an organization, and it'd be interesting actually to dive into this to look like how this is really building up. Comparing an individual and an organization, the I and the kind of a we thing. And also at the same time to dive a little bit like how we really act as an organization to understand how the world out there is perceiving ourselves. So going back to those years of like being a small kid or small boy, small girl, we start communicating with the outer world, and we start building during the years, a kind of an image of ourselves. And we start gluing this, image and perception of ourselves around this name that we have, And that name, girl or boy, and then goes with like, I'm like this, I'm like that, I'm strong, I'm slim, I'm beautiful, I'm not, I have curly hair or not, I have beard or not, and so on. So I'm just starting to build around that thing, that name. And this creates an inner kind of an image of myself, of who I am. Definitely this image, this persona is different of how the world perceives myself. Now if I look to the friends around me, one's are going to say like, oh, he's so amazing, he's so fantastic. And others are going to say like, oh, he's so boring. Oh no, he's so cold, I can't really approach him or her. So, and I would say maybe in the same way when we come up to the world, and come with the product or organization and present this to the world, we have a really clear strategy how this is going to work out. We already talked about how the branding will be, what is the naming, we spend like months on this with really professional guys, and or what is the name we're going to have this stuff, what are colors that we're going to put in the brand, and the logo, and so we're going to come up to the world and with this kind of a strategy of this tone of communication, and this is going to be the claim that they're going to use. And in the end, the way that the public perceives us as a product or as an organization is completely different. I would say more the outer public, So, and how we actually listen to this public, how we know the way that the public perceives us. And somehow this is the biggest incongruence where we talk about communication and image. The way I design it initially, I strategized it, and the way that really happens in practice. So this is a difference in between them. So how we go to what are the tools that we need to put in place in order to listen to this, to the outer world, but also to listen especially, and for me this is really a key element, how to listen to the inner world of an organization, not the internal public. And for me, I would say, and this is one of the things. The other thing is like how we also listen to this public that at this point is manifesting through different medium. You know, we have the offline, the online. So it's different really to communicate with this public now. You know, like maybe 100 years ago, everyone was in the market. So we're going to the market. Maybe in the post-industrial, pre-industrial time, there was everyone in the market. So I know that people are going to say like, hey, your potatoes are not so okay. You know, the horse that you sell to me, it's not so great, or it's awesome. So I really buy it from you again. How are we going to communicate with these people in this multi-platform thing? How are we going to receive the feedback from them? We already have a difficult time to be able to engage with them. How are we going to have the feedback from themselves? So for me, it's like what I want to bring in at this point is that this aspect is really important in order to improve our product from one hand, or to understand in which way the strategy really responds to what the product is or what the perception of the public is. If I look to an organization, I also need to understand how the public perceives me as an organization and to look on that, improve those aspects. The public out there and the public in. Most of the organizations that I know, they always put on side this aspect. It's always like keep the rolling ball to go for it. You know, it's always going. And these tools are not there in present. And most of them, I would say, they are quite easy to put them in place. It's just about to really have an open channel to the world out there and an open channel to the world in there. So there's the two channels to connect. As we individually have channels to connect to the world out there. You have our senses, who have the capacity to communicate, blah, 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 speech, and also the capacity to listen. So we need these channels to be present with our world out there. So how I can put them in place? I can put them in my website, I can put them on my Facebook, I can put them in the Twitter, and to listen actively and process what is the feedback that the public is telling to me. And internally, I will need the same tools to be there present. So through the channels that I have with my inner public. For sure, maybe your team is not so big at this point. Maybe you are 2 or 3 or maybe 5 or 10 on this project that you are working now. But it's always important to gather together and to sense the feeling that is around the team that is working in your project. So it's a kind of a body that you're going to establish, a working group that you're going to establish within your organization, within your project, to listen actively to what is really happening in your organization, your group. It's like taking care of the inner good status of it. But it's not only that. It's more than that. It's just an active listener, inner listener of how is the good state of what you're doing in the organization, in the group that you are working now. And this you can apply it for the organization, and you could work with this also for a product. If you look to the whole Evonier's journey, you're going to find more information about communication and image. More information about how to use properly the social media and how to construct a communication and image strategy or a marketing strategy for your product. So please visit the website before you're going forward, or just dive more into this information. Also, I'll invite you to look to the internet and to search for the term persona. So just check it out. What is going around the term? You know, and how you can apply this to your organization or your product. And now that this is really finishing as a video, just stand up from there and look first to your group. If you have a group, do you have this tool in place? Do you have this subgroup in place that is able to really listen to what is going on inside? And the second is like, if you're just an individual and you're just holding your product project alone, sit to the people next to you, to the person next to you, and make, really meaningful questions about how he or she perceives your product or your project. Take your time to write them down first, and get ready to be surprised by the answers that you're going to get.